Yu-Gi-Oh! Is arguably one of the hardest trading card games to get into. With a huge variety of cards available, it can be confusing to new players as to where they should start and what they should buy. Competitive duelists can use online resources, such as eBay, to their advantage to buy the cards they need to build the decks they want. But sometimes it's just more fun to open packs yourself, especially when the stars align and you get that one card you've been searching for to complete your deck, or that one big money competitive card that everybody is after. Inspired by the likes of Nim Nim, Rev's cards, and Oh That's Spicy, join me as I start my own sealed only adventure. Week number 6 of the sealed only challenge. I'm really excited about this one. I had recorded this commentary in post to better talk about this week's product, the Legendary Dragon decks. This product released in October 2017, so it is quite old and hard to find these days, and is one of the reasons as to why it's so expensive. Another reason is because of the amount of value people can still get from this box. Of course, we're opening this product for the Cyber Dragon deck, but there are two other decks in this box, being Dark Magicians and Odd Eyes, both of which got some amazing reprints and new quote-unquote boss monsters for their respective decks. I could go more in depth about this product, but I am mainly opening this for the Cyber Dragon deck. I would make this video even longer, and this has been up for quite some time, so people already know what are in these decks, but just in case, I have included a link to the contents of this product in a description. Back on topic, this box is going to give our deck the boost it needs to be more competitive, as it gives us access to cards like Cyber Dragon Infinity, a card that can negate any card effects from our opponent, as well as sucking up any problematic monsters. Cyber Rampage Dragon also is in here, which gives us another way to OTK our opponent when going second. That's not all though. This box introduced a new way for Cyber Dragons to break opponents' boards, in the form of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, a card that can be summoned by using Cyber Dragon and monsters in the extra monster zone, even monsters your opponent controls, without the need of polymerization or a fusion card, so it's great at getting rid of problematic cards such as Apollousa or Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. Anyway, let's get into the opening. I have sped up the footage as we're still only mainly interested in the Cyber Dragon deck, and we got most of the cards anyway. It's just one or two cards that we need to pick out from that deck to make our deck a bit more competitive.
Be gone!
Dark Magician.
Okay, so we've taken what we needed out of the Legendary Dragon deck, or the Cyber Dragon deck anyway. So let's do a quick deck profile with the update with the new cards. Still playing free Cyber Dragon, of course. The free core. Whoops. 2 Via. 2 Elton. Free Drag. Free Proto Cyber Dragon. One of the new cards I am playing now is the Machina Fortress. The thinking behind this is I don't actually have 1-for-1 or Foolish Burial yet. So Machina Fortress will be another way for me to get Cyber Dragons into the graveyard in order to use cards such as Cyber Dragon Repair Plant. It's also a great card in general anyway. Once it's destroyed by battle, you can pop a card your opponent controls. If it's targeted for an effect, you get to also look at your opponent's hand and discard one card from their hand. So some interesting utility. We'll see how it works. We got 3 of the Solar Windjammer and the 1 Cereva still to hopefully negate an effect that targets a Cyber Dragon, as I believe that's probably what our opponents will be targeting with card effects. Off into the spells, we've got the free Super Polymerization, as we did pull the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, so it'll be a great way to get rid of problematic cards. Still playing the 2 Evolution Burst. I quite like it for removal now. We got the 2 limiter removals for OTKing, 2 MST for back rows, 2 Overload Fusions. Ideally we would have Verte Anaconda, so we could play the 1 Overload Fusion. What Verte Anaconda does, you send a fusion or polymerization card to the graveyard and its effect becomes that card. Again, we'd ideally be playing 1, as we would only need to use it off the Verte. We wouldn't really want to open it. So playing the 2 Power Bond, 1 Cyber Emergency, and 1 Repair Plant. Just pick these up real quick and I'll go into the trap cards. So we have cut the number of trap cards we play. We got the 1 Overflow, the 1 Impermanence, the 1 Paleozoic Dynamiscus, and the 1 Cyber Network. Go into the extra deck now. And of course we are playing our boy, Cyber Dragon Infinity, and 2 Novas. Probably a bit weird only playing 2 Novas. I can still make Infinity, of course, with the 1. However, a second one could potentially enable us to OTK. 1 Mega Fleet and 1 Fortress for getting rid of problematic cards. Really need to pull a Jizukuru for the Fortress Dragon to make it fully effective. However, you'll see later in the duels, it's still quite funny to use. We got the 1 Chimeratech Overdragon, 2 Twins, 2 Rampage, Construct, just in case we do play against a Shaddoll deck, a Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and then just the Deco Talker, Union Carrier, and the Salamangre Almirage for links. Got an interesting combo with the Union Carrier that was mentioned to me by a friend. We can actually equip a Cyber Dragon to it. And then we have 1 Face-Up Machine Monster and 1 Cyber Dragon Monster to actually go into the Fortress Dragon. So it's quite a funny interaction, however it is quite a debated topic. I'll quickly go into the side now. It has changed obviously because we have taken out the Super Polymerizations. That's really the only card that has changed in our side deck. Okay, so what happened this week with our duels? We actually played a quote-unquote scrub league. So some cards were actually banned from that tournament, so I had to quickly add cards into the deck. So cards that were removed were the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon and Super Polymerization, as they were too strong. I had to take out the Starving Venom, however, because obviously we didn't have the Super Polymerization. So instead of the Starving Venom, I put in a Cyber End Dragon for lols and nostalgia. I also tacked in the Light Hex Sealed Fusion and 2 cards of Fate. I was really just scrambling to find cards. This was like 10 minutes before the tournament. I thought these cards would be helpful. Absolutely were not, so I'm glad that we got that over and done with. Anyway, speaking of the duels, let's get into this week's duels.
For our first match this week, I am up against Machina. This archetype got a remastered structure deck, giving it a load of new cards to make it a somewhat competitive strategy. Having said that, I do lose quite hilariously against this deck, but at least I was able to make a 5000 attack Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, you'll see shortly. So yeah, being able to special summon the Cyber Dragon and contact fuse everything into the Fortress Dragon. Of course, Fortress Dragon gains 1,000 per machine used for the summon. So I was able to attack for 5,000 directly that turn. Really didn't have any other follow-up plays, unfortunately. So you'll see him bring back the Machina Citadel. This is quite pivotal because he's able to imp my Fortress Dragon, reducing its attack to nothing, meaning it blows up with the Citadel effect. And you got the Machina Fortress effect there, being destroyed by battle, being able to pop a monster we control as well. From here I do speed it up because there isn't really a great deal of interaction from either of us. He is able just to keep going, however, and just take game 1. Game 2 here, I did side for going first, just because I wanted to put the Dimensional Prisons in. Dimensional Prison, of course, being used to banish the Fortress or Citadel, ideally. Going into another Fortress Dragon. Such a great card, especially against other machine decks. As you can see, he's using the Fortress for an attack, just to destroy my Fortress, just to win that game. Match 2 here, we're up against Fluffles. Another strong OTK deck. Because of the Scrub League, I think a lot of people were playing OTK decks. As you can see, Card of Fate continuing to be useless for us. Adding Magician Souls to my opponent's hand, and I think I got Paleozoic Dynamiscus. So, not a great outcome. I think at one point he does end up with 10 cards in his hands. Again, fast forwarding it here, just because the amount of plays he's doing. I do banish the first Sabertooth, but it really doesn't matter, he's able to summon another one anyway, and he has a lot of attack. Unfortunately, brick there, so a simple T set it is. I think I do have the Dimensional Prison set, however. As you can see, he is able just to keep going and keep going, bringing back polymerization and materials. I think he meant to summon the Kraken in attack. It's also possible he did this out of mercy for how badly I was losing and bricking. Bit of a dumb play here. Send in Rampage to the graveyard. And he's got Dog, which is enough to kill my Enten and take it. Match 3 here, and we're up against Lyrillist. He has a lot of cards in his deck just to turbo out rank 1 Xyz monsters. It was quite an annoying deck to play against. The Xyz on the right side, I believe, is able to reflect any battle damage. Also, the one on the inner right is able to attack directly and attack up to the number of materials attached to it. Also has an effect to detach a material to take no battle damage, and also make all Lyrillist monsters indestructible to battle. Also make another dumb play, being the Camera Tech Overload, sending my Rampage to the graveyard.
even using a DDD engine just to turbo out rank 1 Lyrilisk monsters. So he uses Evil Form, the DDDs. I think there was like a Abyss Actor monster in his hand, level 1, which is like Curtain Raiser, however, level 1. As you can see there, the Abyss Actor card being able to special summon itself. Okay, the equip card that he gave to his Lyrilisk monster, every time it attacks, it gains 500 attack, and also a spell counter on the equip card, meaning it can detach or remove a spell counter to negate destruction. Really doesn't matter as he's got 2 of the Nightingale, I believe that card is actually called, so he's got amples of protection. No, and there's not much I can do, I just attack and give him game. Okay, match 4 now. This is Ultimate Athletes. Something I probably should mention as well, all these decks besides the perhaps Fluffles, I've never really had any experience dueling against. Of course had to hit the Extravagance there with the Negate. Didn't want him to gain too many cards. The equip card and the monster itself, just hilarious effects, being able to double any battle damage and the monster being able to pop cards. That was an easy game 1 match for my opponent. Game 2 here. Bit underwhelming what I actually end up on. Just got that equip card again, however able to banish it with the Dynamiscus. And I have enough setup in my hand to make Infinity. Going into Nova first to of course revive, then Infinity, then suck up his monster, and he just surrenders. You can see the writing on the wall. Game 3 here, using the Machina Fortress, because I know he likes to attack, so I thought Machina Fortress would be great to get rid of any problematic cards, however he is able to tribute it with Stormfall. Unfortunately, don't really open any other sort of monster. However, he is quite scared of my back row, I believe. And I'm able to bring back the Dynamiscus. So this is quite funny. I use Overflow to banish his other monster, and because Overflow was destroyed, I'm able to add a Cyber Spell and Trap card. However, he's definitely got enough monsters for game. Last match here is actually against Blue Eyes. This is game 2 against Blue Eyes. I've lost the game 1 footage, unfortunately. It was quite hilarious how I lost that. I basically used Evolution Burst to pop the Fistula 10E counter trap card. And if that's destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you get to summon a vanilla monster. And my opponent actually summoned the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Something I've done myself at locals. It's quite a funny card to use. But unfortunately I wasn't able to remove it from the field, the Ultimate Dragon that is in game 1, so I just lost game 1. Game 2, that Compulse really hurt me. Don't know why I shotgunned the trap stun there. There wasn't really much I could do anyway, I probably could have held onto it. So that happened. We lost every match this week, unfortunately. There also was one game that we won, but yeah, not doing too great. I think I may have to go back and practice and test hands with this deck, get a bit more comfortable with it. Hopefully next week there is no sort of scrub league and I can use it a little bit more powered up with super polymerization and starving venom. So again, because of the price of the legendary dragon decks, I am going to be opening less next week. Next week I do plan to open 2 special editions of the Cybernetic Horizon. Our score is currently sitting at 7 wins, 13 losses and 0 draws, so doing quite badly. We really want to turn that around, start winning more games, so hopefully we'll be able to do that next week. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see where we take it. Also leave a comment on any suggestions you have or feedback, or if you're just really enjoying this series so far. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and see you next week.